Good morning, and how are you beautiful people? So I'm Kamora Harrington. Welcome to 75 Sterling Street, which is the future site of the KCC Community Garden and Gathering Space. This space has been beautifully and lovingly donated to us as a place to continue the work of the KCC, which is cultural humility work. We are going to be growing greens as well as herbs. It'll be medicinal herbs, healing herbs, and then cooking herbs. Today is LGBTQ plus Elder Day. So we are out here just celebrating, thinking about all good old folks who paved the road before us, paved the way before us. We are giving away food, we're giving away bagels and sandwiches. Basically every group of people has had to at some point take care of their own and figure out how to carry their own. Today we've got coronavirus going on and we are carrying our own, and that's what we are doing out here at 75 Sterling Street.
You're a real man for that, bro. He ain't handcuffed,
Look at him,
bro.
Just
You're a real man, bro.
Listen, I'm
You're a real man, bro.
The fact that you guys aren't checking his pulse and doing compressions if he needs that, you guys are on another level.
Oh my God, bro.
And then he just gonna pull him
They
up
just
there like
dragging
that.
him like.
His name was George Floyd, and this news has really put a damper on me as a person of color and on me as a queer person preparing for Pride Month. The only good news I can say for this time and period is that businesses, especially black-owned businesses, I was able to support. I was able to get a haircut, which was a very interesting experience during the social distancing process. But again, this has really put a damper on my Pride Month. Today we're supposed to hang up our pride flag in downtown Hartford at the city capitol, and it's really going to be a joyous but at the same time sad occasion because people are downtown protesting for the life of George Floyd. I feel like as a queer person of color, I'm being torn from two different directions. And people are saying things to me that have really put my life and who I consider an ally and who I trust into perspective from here on out. I'm really going to take the time to reevaluate my circle and just do a self-cleansing, you know? Today I'm going to just go for a walk at the park and get away from people. I know that sounds strange to say since we're already social distancing, but I guess I need not just a distance from people physically, but mentally.
The women who founded Black Lives Matter were queer women themselves. When they were creating the idea of Black Lives Matter, they were creating an intersectional Black Lives Matter, saying that all Black lives matter. When we talk about trans lives, and the numbers of trans folks who are murdered in our country, we first off need to say, hey, it's mostly trans women. Again, patriarchy and that awful shit just infiltrates everything. But it's also black trans women. I'm not a Christian. I do not subscribe to a whole lot of the whole Jesus way of being. But the black folks who do, those are my brothers and my sisters. Black Lives Matter means everyone if we can accept and believe that different people have different values. I value a man with a woman, and this is my value system, but he values a man with a man, and therefore how do we figure out how to be together? Black Lives Matter needs to mean that all Black lives matter. And it might be cool to get to all lives matter someday, but I sneer at that. But I sneer at the all lives matter crap the same way I sneer at the folks who scream that Black Lives Matter, but then say that my beautiful trans sister deserved that because she shouldn't have been like that. There you go. So white folks suck, black folks suck. Amen.
My name is Bubblicious, and I go by she.
A friend of mine, many moons ago, when I was a thick and healthy girl, I had a big ass, and he's like, "You are bubblicious," and it stuck. It stuck.
You are bubblicious.
It stuck. A friend of mine back then, I was working at a place called Michael's Arts and Crafts, and I was performing in drag, but I lived I was dressing as a boy. And my friend came up to me, he said, "Why is it that you are so different when you're not dressed?" Like my whole mannerisms, and I wasn't as happy. And it just, when he said that to me, something clicked in my head. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to let go. And I let go. I mean, at that point, I gave away I got rid of all the boy clothes. From that day on, I never wore any boy clothes ever again.
Ooh.
I mean, it wasn't so much that it was a straight into trans, but it was more or less, I could wear women's clothing and walk around during the day and feel comfortable. Because it was weird, because back then, for like a large percentage of my teenage years, most people assumed I was a girl anyway. I mean, I was thick. I had a big butt. I was thick. I used to play football, and I don't know what happened, but the body configured into like a shape, morphed into like, you know, more of a female shape,
and this was without hormones, without anything.
Without hormones. Without hormones, because the thing is, I used to weigh almost 400 pounds. Ooh. And then when I lost some of the weight, I regained like chest tissue, and as I said, I was thick, so I was a thick girl back then, so most people just assumed I was a girl. Family-wise, it took people a minute, because as I tell people nowadays, it's like, as a trans person, you've been like dealing and mulling over feelings internally for years. So by the time that you get comfortable enough to say, okay, this is it, you've had time to come to grips with that. You have to give the people on the outside the same amount of time to come to grips with that. I mean, I see too many times where people are like, well, oh, you don't love me because you need to accept me as I am. It's like, sweetheart, it doesn't happen that easy. A lot of people have to deal with like their own issues and their own insecurities about looking at their child living a lifestyle that they don't understand. So you have to either help them come to the point where they can understand you, or you have to show them and educate them on like things that, you know, show them that you can like be self-sufficient, be, you know, self-aware, and live a productive lifestyle. So, you know, they're not worried about you. Because a lot of times, that's basically it. A lot of parents are scared because they don't know what their child's going to turn out to be. How many times have you seen like a 16-year-old talking about, I'm a grown-ass man or a grown-ass female, and I can do what I want to do? But realistically, you still are dependent on other people. So I'm really happy now that I see a lot more programs that are open for youth now that they were never open, especially for teens of color back in the day. Instead of always trying to be fierce, try and be educated, you know, instead of trying to look, you know, so fly. How about teaching the younger generation how to do a checkbook, how to, you know, organize and get like rent payments, and how you get your job and stuff, like, you know, how to survive. Yeah, how to survive. I mean, most kids out here don't know how to do it, don't know anything about going to get a bank account. And it's like, you know, just simple things like that. These kids need someone to like mentor them and stuff like that. My mom took a while, and it was like a while before she would call me she. And it was tense. It was very tense sometimes, because, I mean, again, she had to get to the point where she was comfortable. And I understand that now. When it was happening, I couldn't wrap my head around it so much, but now I do. I was never put out in the street. I was never in no situations I never had to deal with stuff like that.
But you knew others that were?
Oh, most definitely.
Show the people the mask that you made. Okay, so what's that one in Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Okay, it's nice.
And I had Spider-Man, Wonder Woman. I was going to start making masks just into hospitals, but then it was like, okay. I couldn't afford it. I was mailing them off, throwing them in the mail. I just got into a fog being in the house so much, you know?
Wait, my hands are up. Don't shoot. What the fuck? Look around. I'm chill. I'm calm. I'm on the ground. We saw a man. He looks like you. Same hoodie on, Timberland shoes. Brown skin, dark skin, black skin. It was you. Mama, I'm sorry. You always tried to prepare me. I didn't listen or pay attention, 'cause this situation is scary. Be home before the street lamp comes on. This world is crazy. They gon' treat you wrong. Show me your ID. Where do you live? Where were you going? Why were you here? In this neighborhood? I don't think so. Are you one of those? Are you a queer? We saw a girl. She looks like you. Same jersey on. Air Jordan shoes. Brown skin. Dark skin. Black skin. Girl, it was you. Mama, I'm sorry. You always tried to prepare me. I didn't listen or pay attention, 'cause this situation is scary. Be home before the street lamp comes on. This world is crazy. They gon' treat you wrong. They're killing us. I can't breathe. They're killing us. No justice, no peace. Black man down. Black man dead. Bang, bang, bang. Off with his head. Be home before the street lamp comes on. The street lamp comes on. This world is crazy. They gon' treat you wrong. So wrong.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No peace! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! Black lives matter. We need to stand up to this police and shut them down.
Slightly. You can take the mask down. I'll stay distant. Okay. Your name, where you're from, and what you're doing out here.
So my name is Adamz. I'm from Hartford, born in New York, raised in Hartford, and today we're working on a mural, part of the Hartford Public Library. So it's about the change makers. I don't know if you're familiar with them. We've been doing a program recently where we had virtual workshops. Mina and I have been doing virtual workshops, and it's been pretty cool. So we were coming up and brainstorming with 2 different mural designs, one being this one at Melanin Shop, and then the next one would be in the South End at the Art Box. So they are around the change makers of Hartford. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing for this mural is more like representing, like, what does that mean? It's a rough sketch at the moment, but it is an image of a person braiding hair, and in the hair there's going to be roots coming out, just representing growth and change. And then there's going to be a quote that we're going to add on at the end. It's going to be layering throughout the piece.
And the artist behind you is?
And that's Mina Echevarria, and myself is Linda Luz Carrillo.
Okay, excellent. Am I interrupting your creative vibe right now? Okay. You want to just tell me your name real quick and what inspired you for the drawing?
Sure. So my name is Mina, and we were really inspired by...
I'm actually get you from this way where the sun is coming from.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
We're inspired by the power of hands and how much change you can really make by using them, whether it's your own, your family members, your friends, or just the communities. Hands have the power to do so many different things, and we wanted to depict just a couple of those ways.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
And where can we find more of you?
You can find me. All of my contact is at Mina Elise, MINAELISE.
All right, well, thank you, Nina. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
The only time we really join hands is when we fight against oppression created by the man. But when we look at each other, what is our plan? What is it about each other that we actually understand? Gentrification interferes with the peace we all seek. Nail salons, hair weaves, Kayla Newman on fleek. A system attempting to put black against Asian? But ain't no real beef between Taiwan and Haitians. We've crossed paths on the sugar plantations, eating curry, smoking ganja, coolie Jamaicans. Hey yo.
I'm going to get out of the way of the real photographer. Oh, sorry.
You packed your stuff?
Yes.
A lot of people don't like driving. I enjoy driving, and I love the process of it. I envision the trip being a exercise in delving into the uncomfortable towards healing, connection, and connecting with other people. And you know, that's the fertile ground for growth and for maturity.
I'm a spoken word artist. I think it's important to have a voice. My poetry can impact people because it's current. And my goal is to versatile people's poetics and give you something to walk away from, at least one line that you can resonate with you, and hopefully it inspires you to write and heal yourself.
What do you wonder when you see a woman living not by what supposed to be 5'8", long hair, thick thighs, little booty, and brown skin, like under the blankets of materialism that covers my exterior and traps my interior? I'm a foreign lesson unknown to you, so approach me with caution. My mind is dense and hard a beating nightmare, athletic, ambitious, outgoing, are traits that don't create me. I'm a fiend for pulling a trigger and blowing away ignorance. I despise the fools that label themselves because society said so. Don't define me because definitions are best friend of Webster, and don't try to look for the 411 of me because Wikipedia won't tell you the full truth. My swag busts through like a good, at least I'm thinking, what? My attitude doesn't reflect what they thought, but what they see in me. I'm a rebel to the rules and a conformist to the abnormal. You see, most eyes that are set upon me see an image of a male. Why? They say men wear this and women wear that. Claimed who? Well, I wear those and these, so I am this and that together. My uniqueness is fed as different, but swallowed as judgment. And I have a personality that isn't personable, I must confess. An emotion you can never configure. It's no advertisement. You see, women snicker when I pass by because they're intrigued by my mystery and trapped by the closet. Men beam when I walk by, showing their lip because they think I got in between their women's split. I laugh because if my clothes were off, those men would hit. Now let's penetrate a little deeper. You roll the knowledge this time. People like me get killed for their existence.
The poem I did is called Me. It describes me, being a masculine lesbian and being black. And it also describes everyone else because it's universal. Black Lives Matter is in it. A list of people who've been murdered by the police are in it, but also Matthew Shepard is in it. Pulse nightclub is in it. So it describes me, but it flips at the end universally that everyone is really me and everyone's each other. We're all artists ourselves. So with this trip, we're going to be able to heal ourselves and heal others who we encounter along this journey.
I'm an artist. I've been doing a little bit of video and stuff like that, and I usually, because I naturally do that, I go around and just take pictures and stuff, so it's like I kind of been doing that, looking at things through like the lens of the media and everything like that. Things get really distorted, so I feel like we're kind of going out and giving that actual like just honest first-person view, you feel me, from people, from the community and stuff like that.
In my experience, when most people hear that art heals, they're thinking of somebody else healing them as opposed to discovering what their art is and how they can heal themselves. So I like to always come from the perspective of, like, who art thou? What is your gift and what is it that you're going to share with the world that is going to contribute to this beautiful story that we're writing, especially as we're trying to change the narrative in our country. So I think this trip is important because one of the things that we will be sharing is how individuals can discover their own art and heal themselves through that, and heal each other, because healing, as you can see, I've been burned and I have personal experience that healing often hurts, and it's always good when you have people who have gone through something like that to share that healing process with you, and it literally speeds up the process and can almost sometimes make it enjoyable.
We are in the beautiful, glorious I don't know time, and I'm loving that, and I'm trusting those people. Most people are kind of stepping back and trying to envision and think about what is going to happen. So 4 years ago, everyone figured we just need to get rid of Trump to get back to normal. I think right now people understand that back to normal isn't the way to go, and there's a plethora of ideas on where we should be going. And what does black art do? It tells us some real truth right here like this, and then it gives us a place to kind of sit in it and be. Black folks have been ignored for so far too long that our amazing and brilliance will shock you because you don't know that it exists. I'm not saying we're superior, I'm saying that you've missed the amazingness of what we are.
Do you think all the black cities will have the same problems as our own?
Okay, yes, 100%, and no. Yes and no, yes and no, yes and no. And that's, I think that's the beauty of this trip, because we are Hartford, and someone last night was telling me about an incident that they got into, and Hartford showed up. And Hartford showed up in the way that Hartford showed up. And I love that, and I love those stories. But I know folks from Detroit have stories about how, you know, Detroit shows up and it's Detroit. And we're going down to Philly, and this is where, like, treading lightly. I know exactly how I would feel if some band of Negroes showed up in Hartford saying, you know, oh, we're artists, and we're here to, like, bring art and healing to you because, you know, we're these black artists from elsewhere. Like, Hartford would destroy that shit. And I would be at the front of the line with pitchforks saying, who the fuck are you, right? So that's not what we're doing. Because like, we're cool like that. Like, I can tell you, I've got a whole bunch of black women mentors who meet me the way that they're supposed to, which is like, you know, you got it, you need something, I'm here. You know, reach out if you need to, that kind of thing. So I'm expecting us to go and meet black folks like that, and coming in very, very humbly so that we can hear all the places where our shit is exactly the same. Because on the surface we can appear to be really, really different, but we're black folks in America, which means we got a whole lot of the same going. And the ways that the powers that be try to shit on us, they are not that creative. Gentrification, the gentrification formula, no matter where you go, it's the same thing. So are we dealing with the same in many of the same ways? Yup.
Do it, bitch. You can do it. 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 All right. That's right, Central. That's right, Hartford. North and South and West Hartford. Greater state of Connecticut. East Hartford.
COVID hit, we didn't have rent to pay, the world went ridiculous. I know that there are great people doing great things. Everyone was asking me what to do. I've got some answers. I figured we would go out and talk to other folks so that I could answer questions and send people off to see beautiful people.
Wait, my hands are up. Don't shoot. What the f? Look around. I'm chill. I'm calm. I'm on the ground. We saw a man. He looks like you. Same hoodie on, Timberland shoes. Brown skin, dark skin, black skin. It was you.
As I go walking by this and just see all of the faces and all the determination, right now I feel a lot. That's how I feel about this. I feel blessed and honored to be able to be here and to be able to be here the way that we are. And I'm taking a lot in right now.
This goes from Hartford.
Yep, yeah, they are.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know him, yes. What's his name?
He's Trey Songz, a singer.
Okay, there you go.
R&B
These two
singer.
were in my backyard. Those two were in my backyard for some Moorish meetings.
Okay, do you still have their contact? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, they.
Because I would love to know how they ended up in a picture with Trey Songz,
See,
one of the
like,
most
he looks
successful.
familiar. I know his face,
one of the most
but I know
successful
them.
R&B. He's the second coming of R. Kelly right now for young people.
He pees on children.
No, not that in success in R&B.
Okay, good. And here it's just.
Wait, which one is here?
This one.
Okay, let me get a shot of this. This is the police. Ouch, dragging someone.
Yes.
Police brutality.
This is a protest. This was a peaceful protest. What society do we live in where it is at all reasonable and okay for the police to attack Americans who are saying all Americans need to have rights? Like, in no world, there's no. When we really step back away from sick American race, like when you pull away from that, there's no world where this can be okay. And so I'm just stuck on how the f do we allow this out? I'm like, how the f are the police allowed to show up? Like from the level of society saying that we need to have police and they need to show up in riot gear when people are protesting and demanding the rights of other people. This is sick and disgusting, and it's just, I'm struck by the sickness of it. So that grabbed me, and that stuck me, because that's just.
Now, what is this piece about? This is.
That's us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
That's an awesome shot.
So what is this? This is so I told you what's today's perseverance, yeah. But
So this is one car in the center, surrounded by everyone en masse in Black Lives Matter protest. It's an awesome picture, actually.
It's telling me everything and nothing. That's what it is. It's telling me everything and nothing. Like, Jesus Christ Superstar fan, you know, could we start again, please? Like, how motherfucking many times does this need to happen? This is beautiful. This is determination. This is, we're going to win. We're going to, But I've seen, this photo is gorgeous. I'm not going to say I've seen this photo before, but I've seen this image before, and I've seen this determination before. And I know those buildings aren't owned by those people, and those streets, whose streets are streets, but no, they're fucking their streets when it fucking comes down to it. What the fuck have we gotten to as a society that in any way this can happen, and it can happen over and over, and we don't get it right, and we don't learn from it. And that's where I'm stuck, and that's where I'm like that's what gets me to the crying place. How fucking many times do we have to do the same shit?
This is almost similar, but the complete opposite. The one person on the car and everyone's hands down. Isn't that interesting? When you go to this one, everyone's hands up and then no one's on the vehicle.
Yeah, I shouldn't have gotten stopped there. I should come here.
See, no one's on the vehicle. With my hand shaking, just looking at that photo. And everyone's hands up around it. But on this one, it's the complete opposite. What is the irony in that? What does that mean? Balance or something? Oh, and then this one's from the crowd's perspective. It's almost like these are three completely different artists, but their photos almost go together. Wow.
But I just feel that this one is the anecdote to that.
And this is the close-up one. This is dope.
Who won this show?
Who what?
What's her name?
So do it your way. It's your birthday. So do it your way. They just don't know. They hating on us all throughout society. But this year, you know, I'm still just doing me. It's gonna be fierce, you know how I like to keep good energy. Ain't no shade, so what's the tea? Reserve a section for the ballroom scene. It's free entry if you're legendary. All icons to the front row seats, and drag queens in the VIP. You can call me RuPaul, cause you know I'm a supermodel. Yeah, that's right, I'm dressing nice. Yeah, that's right, I'm popping bottles. DJ play my favorite song, so you know it's fire. The venue gon' be packed, cause my face is on the flyer. Birthday, so do it your way. It's your birthday, so do it your way.
Tamara.
I'm coming. I'm putting stickers on. Black words. What you know about this? Because you can't recognize the PE logo when you see it.
Oh wait, this is a record shop?
Also a record shop, everything, man.
DJ play my favorite song, so you know it's fire. The venue gon' be packed, cause my face is on the flyer. Birthday, so do it your way. It's your birthday, so do it your way. This goes out to all my gays, cause you know we came to slay. Happy birthday to my gays, cause we turn up every day. They just don't know. Baby blue, all white, pretty and pink, that's right. I want hookahs, free drinks for my tea girls all night. This right here is safe space, keep your straight friends in check. I don't wanna see no bachelorettes, I don't wanna see a straight bachelorette. Trans men, proud dykes, burlesque chicks everywhere. Locking lips, holding hands, scissoring, drinking beers. Hot daddies, proud queers, go-go dancers, twerking here, fitted hats.
Black art
art heals. Can you just give us your idea? That's our concept, and we're bringing it to you. What does that mean to you when we just throw that out at you?
To me, black art heals because, everything that we're going through today, I mean, it's between civil unrest, which really been there forever, but it's more out. We see it more because of social media. The pandemic, you need a getaway to reset. And, if you look at a piece of art, to me, if I look at a piece of art, boom, it's an automatic reset. If I hear a song I like, it's an automatic reset. You know what I'm saying? And I can be able to deal with today's world differently because I've reset it. You know what I'm saying? I reset and I can tackle it better than being just, this again, this. So, art takes you away. And I'm going to use the word reset again. It allows you to reset and tackle your regular life again. So that's what it means to me. And that comes down to music, comes down to graffiti, comes down to, I'm a turntablist, comes down to me DJing. That's how I release and that's how I reset. You know what I'm saying? And that's art. All that's art.
So do it your way. It's your birthday. So do it your way. This goes out to all my gays, cause we came to slay. Happy birthday to my gays, cause we turn up every day. They just don't know. Birthday. Happy birthday to my gays. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to
Shout your stuff. All right, follow Fresh Radio at Real Fresh Radio and the shop, Freshtopia VA. And everything is on how you can support. Download the Fresh Radio app. Click the Fresh Buy. That is our merch section. And just buy a piece of... when you cash out somebody dough, somebody going to spend the money. But if you purchase a shirt or purchase a hoodie, you can wear that all the time and it still be with you. So you got something for your money. So.
We are at the Robert E. Dis Memorial in Richmond, Virginia, and this is Monument Ave, which a lot of other statues from Civil War quote-unquote heroes have been torn down. This one still stands, but obviously it's been decorated and arted up and memorialized in various different ways. There's different signs all along about the stories of people who were tragically murdered by the police, and their story, their tale. For me, it's very important that we always honor those. We should always honor the dead, but specifically those who, their life ended in tragedy. This is a beautiful thing what people have done here. We saw when we were in Virginia Beach at Slow Dive that their exhibit was based on the different things like this in Richmond. So we're passing through as we make our way to Baltimore, so it was a perfect stop to make. People are transmuting energy as they always do, taking the lead, turning into gold, taking the tragedy, turning into triumph, and that's why we came to bear witness to it.
When I die, don't cry. Pour a shot, have a drink one time. Put your hands in the air. When the beat drops, I'm there. Turn it up, turn the music up. Turn me up. Remember all the times I didn't give a fuck. So live it up. Club hopping. Live it up. We be popping. I don't wanna hear you arguing. I wanna see my people making plates. I don't wanna see you spreading hate. I wanna see my people celebrate. It's a day of remembrance. What's up? All the good times was a vibe. Raise your hands high, lighters in the sky. It's a day of remembrance. Turn up. It's a day of remembrance. What's up? All the good times was a vibe. Raise your hands high, lighters in the sky. It's a day of remembrance. I'm still here by your side. It's alright, not goodbye. Don't fight, be nice. Show love, hug twice. Don't worry about the outside. Who we are is in the heart and in the mind. Even in a world of hating, just know you're meant for great things. That's right. I don't wanna see you throwing disses. I wanna see my people blowing kisses. I wanna see the positivity, the same way you motivated me. It's a day of remembrance. All the good times was a vibe. Raise your hands high, lighters in the sky. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day of remembrance. All the good times was a vibe. Raise your hands high, lighters in the sky. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day of remembrance. All the good times was a vibe. Raise your hands high, lighters in the sky. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day of remembrance.
So in 1967, they had these tunnels and they realized that they should make a free expression place. Well, what was happening in our nation in 1967, right? Or 1966. So they realized they needed to create a place for people to share what they felt, because this is necessary. And the part that kills me is that cognitive dissonance, where you understand that in order to contain, you've got people who are just losing it. And in order to create a place where they're okay and just not constantly losing it, you've got to create a place where they can do this, where they can create, where they can just put what they're feeling and express out there to get it out for other people to see. And then we just miss the fact that that has to continually happen. So how beautiful that this college campus understood. We've got all of the unrest. The way to take care of it is to provide people with a place to share their voice. But then how do we take that and then build out of that? So that's where I am right now. How do we build out of this?
And which campus is it?
This is the University of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That is right. We
So
knew this for like more than 10 minutes, true.
Has any other colleges in Connecticut done anything like this?
Like this, well, okay, so Trinity has the Hip Hop Fest, which we all know and love the Hip Hop Fest. And there's a safety to that that doesn't exist with this, right? Because they've got the whole tagging area, but there are always those really nice, it depends on what it is, but they're usually those big plywood pieces of wood that can be moved around and such. And that's wonderful and great and amazing. And this is wonderful and great and amazing. And they're not the same at all.
Okay, so I found this interesting. We're on Harrington Street, like Kimora Harrington. And guess what I found? It's a gay bar on Harrington Street. This your boy DJ Ephraim Adamz here at Legends Nightclub Complex and Raleigh, North Carolina Dance Club. Of course, they're not open. And who knows what's going on right now as far as the pandemic is concerned. But I just thought that was pretty funny.
Pass me the dinero. It's 420. Cause I'm on a hunt to start me a blunt. You know we gon' chill and get lit for real. So KK with me and puff on the trace. April is the time of year everybody strolls up, strolls up, strolls up. April is the time of year when we roll up, roll up, roll up. Inhale, don't let it out. To the head, that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, that's smooth. Let the ganja do what it do. And that's right, man, cause I'm cool, man. We gon' vibe, man. Me and you, man. We be smoking loud, floating like a cloud. April is the time of year everybody strolls up, strolls up, strolls up. April is the time of year when we roll up, roll up, roll up. Take a hit for those that they hated. For my people they incarcerated. All the innocent who never made bail. And now the government's got the shit for sale. So many dead, killed by the feds. So fuck the white man, I said what I said. You can keep your little drug war. Attack some blacks and the poor. In jail for a wake and bake. black men 4 times the rate. Everybody loves cannabis, so let's stop all the racist shit. And I know that you ain't no fool. This was way before white kids in high school, so it's a day of remembrance. So don't be acting ignorant. Hands up for the real 420. Hands up for the real 420. April is the time of year everybody strolls up, strolls up, strolls up. April is the time of year when we roll up, roll up, roll up. April is the time of year everybody strolls up, strolls up, strolls up. April is the time of year when we roll up, roll up, roll up. Hands up for the real 420.
Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor! 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 Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor!
We're here in Little 5 Points where, let's see, we started off and we met this beautiful 27-year-old woman named C, who's a musician with the most beautiful music, who greeted me and said, hello, it's this wonderful greeting. And then we went into, I make music to heal people. Great to meet you. Oh, we're here to meet people because we believe that black art heals. And absolutely everyone, so this is this funky, it's 5 Points, right? So this is funky, interesting neighborhood. And everyone we have engaged in conversation felt the need to share in whatever ways art, healing and art go hand in hand, and that has been every organic conversation that's happened in this neighborhood. We are on this tour, Black Art Heals. What does that mean?
What does that mean to me? We're gonna achieve world peace, unity through all mediums of art. And I've been on that mission all of my life, and just 2015 I just decided I'm going to make music for healing. And I've been consistently working since then. And what that means to me is just, I'm a firm believer in helping, like we all shape each other. We all come into each other's lives for a reason. Even if it's just we're walking by, even like just a smile a day can do something. You don't know how you can help anyone. You just being yourself, saying hey to speaking to someone can change, like uplift someone's spirit. I know that we can achieve love, and get rid of this disconnect, the division, the hate, the judgment by just loving each other through music, through all mediums of art, period.
So where can we find more of your stuff?
So you can find my music at seeyoulooking.com, SIIYOULOOKING.com.
You have your own website?
Yes.
Awesome.
And you can learn about who I am, a little bit of background of who I am is on there as well. I dropped an EP last year around this time, and it was called Down the Rabbit Hole. That's the only music that I have out right now, but I'm releasing an album next year.
Temp the lights low, temp the lights low, speed up the tempo, yeah. Please be gentle. I began to concentrate. I began to concentrate. I began to concentrate. I began to concentrate.
Shout out to Black Art Heals Tour. Cultural Corner. Kamara's Cultural Corner. It's like a tongue, like.
All right. Thank you, Atlanta.
Shout out to you guys. I'm
Appreciate
so
you.
thankful for what you're doing for the community. This is what we need. This is going to, like, love is the only thing that transmutes and unites people. And here it goes. That's what we're doing.
Watch out.
That's what we're doing.
So the Salvador Dali and the MLK next to each other, like, it'd be a whole lot of fun to listen to a scared public art curator discuss putting those two next to each other, because they don't belong together, which is why they completely belong together. It's just like, And one of the cool things about this neighborhood is there are all different types of depictions of art, you know, down to the human beings and the way that they express themselves in their art to what is here. So to ask me what I feel about the art here, I love it all because it's a hodgepodge of whatever. We're going to go look at each individual piece. I've got different feelings about different things, but I love the fact and the idea that it's all here. And one of the things that's interesting, I'm seeing it happening a whole lot these days, but they are not scrubbing their graffiti away. And I don't know if that's because there's this understanding that graffiti is public art. I don't know if it's because Public Works doesn't have enough money or time, or if people just over themselves. But I appreciate the fact that as I'm walking around, there are places where I've got to kind of like think about this. So is this commissioned public art? Is this approved public art? Or is it public art that the public seem to think needs to be on the wall, so there's public art? So we're getting ready to go to Ephraim's mom's house, and we're going to have dinner, and we just bought her this beautiful, wonderful smelling soy candle from a black-owned business over here, where there's really no reason to walk into a candle shop and have a person start talking about the healing qualities of the different oils that they use in their candles, except it's time, and it's the right time for this. So everything about this felt great. Is there capitalism going on all over the place over here? Yeah. Are there some things that feel a little bit funky? Yeah, but that's society, right? It's a little bit funky. And we're growing and moving on.
My grandfather from Guyana, yes. Grandma from Alabama, work. Curry chicken with the mac and cheese. You could say I'm Guyabanese. We were thankful, never vultures. No. Diverse and full of mixed cultures. Yes. We dance, we drink, and we eat. Janet Jackson, Shaggy. Creole, raised in Connecticut, the Hartford ghetto. Oxtails, collard greens with the gumbo. We break bread, no matter where we go. We work hard, we never cheat. No. Book smart, but still from the street. Yes. We dance, we drink, and we eat.
You said it's made out of newspapers or magazines?
Magazines. Oh, nice. It tells a story.
Made this out of magazines.
It tells a story. I'm
and
gonna put
glossed it over and stuff.
You did?
You know.
You did? Yeah, I did. Oh wow.
These chairs are nice too, man.
Yeah, so you got the four corners of the earth. Yeah. Oh yeah. I
Earth, wind, sun, fire. You got the tree of life. You have the owl for wisdom. You got her. That's Mother Earth. You have X for fertility. You have the butterfly for evolution. You got ancient kings and queens for Egypt right there.
You're recording this, Ephraim?
I think I just like the monkey for no reason. And I forget turtles symbolize something, but I can't remember what the heck it is. But you got birds for like intuition. Then you have the family unit right here. See the father, the mother, the baby. Then you got the tribe right here.
I love that.
You got the tribe. And you just got like some greens, some vegetation. What you laughing? And that's the welcome to Wakanda symbol right there.
This is beautiful.
The welcome to Wakanda. That's the welcome to Wakanda right there, y'all. Okay, it's around that time when I think I made the tables. Around that time I was inspired by the movie. I was like, make something, do something. You know. Then you got the elephant, you know, for longevity, because elephants live a long time. They remember everything, you know.
You did a good job.
What's about you? Yeah. And that's the owl looking over because he's wise. So there you go. And the old man for wisdom. There you go. See.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, see?
This is East Atlanta Village. And so They're actually, this is another place that's being regentrified, and so they're actually getting ready to turn this into like a little 5 points too. Very diverse community, and
I figured out that the way to rejuvenate and make things work is through the arts and actual diversity. So
through the arts and through real diversity and inclusion.
There we go.
And not moving out the black people that's been here already.
Oh, really? That doesn't work? That doesn't kill a neighborhood? Oh, that
because when I found out about this place, I found out.
Oh, really, Brooklyn?
Thank you. I found out about this place. Yes, some of last year when I was looking for a spot to host our annual Black Gay Pride press conference series that my company produces every year.
Oh, that's you?
And so, yeah. Meek Productions, that's M-E-A-K as in kite.
That's the one we want to know more about.
Meek Productions, M-E-A-K as in kite, Productions with an S. We're known as the world's first LGBT exclusive talent agency and production company.
That's kind of awesome.
We're in our actually our 16th year.
This is my spot here. This is the Meek Productions studio office.
There we go.
Yeah, we've been here for a whole year. A year and some months and stuff. So yeah, this is who we are.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Show me some faces that we should know and be following. These are all artists in their own right, correct?
They're artists in their own right. We have both a collection of models, performing artists, actors, dancers, whole 9 yards. Authors, speakers, yeah.
And the majority of them identify as LGBT.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
All of them do.
Because
that's one of the things that we require with our agency, that, you know, if you want to be represented by an LGBT exclusive talent agency, you have to be comfortable with your sexuality. You have to be out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't be in the closet and then want to be part of an LGBT exclusive talent agency. Come on.
I can't show any of these in Connecticut because my mother might say. Other than that, this is great.
Twerk, bitch. Twerk. You a bottom. Twerk, bitch. Twerk. You a bottom. Twerk, bitch. Twerk. You a bottom.
Why are we so afraid to embrace an LGBTQ production studio of the world? All the LGBT artists out there?
Because, once again, for people that's watching, it's an LGBTQ plus community, but we still have the same issues as any other community. Just like in the black community, we say everybody that's skin folk ain't kinfolk. We got that same problem over here in the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah, we have sellouts over here too. And one of the reasons why why it was such a struggle to launch my vision, you know, one of the, because I was very naive back then. Because I was thinking when the vision first came to me from the creator of the Omniverse, I was like, create the world's first LGBT exclusive talent agency production company. Are you serious? And I was all excited about that. Oh, this is going to be such a blessing for people in the community that are artists and that want to go to the next level, and that, you know, we can finally get real gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender actors and actresses to play these roles in mainstream and stuff like that. And somebody need to be there to represent them, because when I created that vision, the word of logo TV was coming. Here TV was coming. There also had been about anywhere between 5 to 6 LGBTQ plus premium channels or networks. And like I said, yeah, it was a Logo TV, Here TV, the Q Television Network, and I think 2 others. I think
we
it
had
was
a lot of black programming.
The Q Television Network, and a lot of people, and a lot of independent filmmakers and stuff like that, especially black. They was mostly trying to do the DVD circuit. You know what I'm saying? Just do DVD subscriptions and stuff of their stuff. But when these networks was being published and saying that they was coming, everybody was excited about it and stuff like that. And so, out of all of that, only Logo TV and Here TV end up being the only ones that lasted. You know, Here TV being our only premium channel, and Logo, of course, being the regular cable channel. So those are the only ones that we that end up lasting out of all of the other ones. There was also supposed to have been an LGBTQ record label from Sony.
Really?
Yes, never forget it, because I bought the article. Was it in Billboard that particular year? We're talking about the hold up.
The mid
2000s, of the early 2000s. And this was when the Out Music Awards, which is our LGBT Grammys, when they were still in existence. I don't know what they're doing now. But
Deirdre, we need some music awards, honey.
They only had like 2 of them.
Yeah, because I was wondering what happened to them.
And Logo really dropped the ball on content.
Wow, that's another thing that really disappointed me about them. And I feel that that's another issue there. But when I was creating that, you know, it was in my mind that when people found out about this vision that everybody was going to flock to it, everybody was going to get together. But I had to, silly me, wasn't thinking, I'm starting this up in the Confederate South, one. Two, racism in the LGBTQ plus community still exists.
So who comes in so I'm just thinking about who comes and contacts you about that job. Has that changed in the last year? Are more people looking for real diversity?
Actually, it's been, especially when we talk about the LGBTQ plus community, when it comes to wanting to partner now and wanting to really, really come together and really expand what diversity and inclusion really means, it was something about not just the pandemic, but what happened to George Floyd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it really took things to a completely different perspective. And I was like, you know, many people, non-blacks, started contacting me really wanting to work together and stuff. And I'm like, really? Y'all serious this time?
Yeah.
No joke, no mouth. You know what I'm saying? So
I just took over a panel in my community, like, so they're actually being serious about it. And you know, like there's a need to like push the queer community as well. And so they decided to finally have this June, finally, have a conversation about racism in the LGBTQ plus community, right?
And we've been talking about that for so long, but people didn't want to take us seriously.
But we don't really talk. Talk
right? About it. So people didn't want to take us seriously.
I've been an asshole on the fucked up lying panels for years.
Of course.
And so I'm on the panel, and we're here, and I'm like, God, and so we're here, and I'm there, and there's a black trans woman. And other than that, everyone else is some type of Latino. And I was like, guys, we're getting here, you know, so it's Zoom, but we're still in the green room. And it's like, guys, it's time to actually have this conversation for real. And so right now I'm asking, calling them out by names, like, we've been doing this for years. I need you to call out the anti-blackness. Today they asked us to come together for racism, but I'm asking you as the Latino queers who know that you get called to co-sign on the anti-black. I'm asking for this panel to co-sign on the anti-blackness and keep it anti-black, and it happened.
This is where that complicity comes from. Right down the street, 2 blocks from here, the old State House. Go check it out. That's where they sold us. We have a responsibility here.
And so in our community, like down here in Atlanta, you guys have a much larger black community. We have
much larger.
You also have you come out of enslavement different, which means that the way that your black community interacts with itself is much different than the way that ours does.
It does. Because a lot of people fail to realize, you know, Georgia was one of the first 13 colonies.
Yes.
This was slavery. All that stuff actually began. All of the lynching started down here.
But then the other beautiful thing that you guys have, that you Virginia, the few that were the first few, is you didn't know that you needed to break slave communities. You didn't know that you needed to do that. So the community, so when you go to Charleston and such, you see these places where there were the slave, there was the community. So these people developed bonds and relationships and trust. Up where we are, it was small mills and they didn't need slavery the same way. So you'd have a small farm owning one person, this one owning one person, that one owning one person. So the community thing really, really didn't solidify the same way. So you've got that, and then you've got the white gay establishment who is never going to ever embrace black men. Because I mean, you got a big black buck, you got your mandingo, you got all these wonderful tropes that create a way.
Come on. Come on! Woo! Bring it down!
I've been black and gay for a long time. Yo.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
All my hysteria is a product of America, full of racial barriers, with no aftercare for ya. Fuck your fragility and show me your ability, cause when I snap this cracker whip, you gon' take this Negro dick. You like big black cock? I'ma beat it like you're a cop. The only kind of chatter should be black lives fucking matter. Leave me in gangbangs, bucket full slave trade. You love those mandingos, 10 niggas on one hoe. Consensual, non-consent, I'ma put you in a chokehold. I'ma make your husband watch. Silly faggot, cuckold. He can never pleasure you the same. I'ma dress him up like a housemaid. I'm giving him a new name. He gon' get a gender change. That's fandom, sissification, small penis, humiliation. All whores aboard, all whores aboard. Call it all whores, call it all whores. All my hysteria is a product of America.
There are all these ways in the culture that they can't accept us. And so when I've gone and been the black one being black, it's been a problem.
But see, the thing is that especially in the Confederate South, hear me well, because it took them years before they finally started recognizing, yeah, you gay, but you still got white privilege, boo. You still got white privilege. Oh, and let me give you another kicker.
How do y'all deal with Anderson Cooper? Keep talking, but then we'll.
I said, then y'all forgot another kicker. Yeah, you got your white privilege, but in the eyes and in the plan of white supremacy, you all would never fit. So I don't care how white you are. If you are LGBTQ, you are not in the white supremacist plan. You are just a pawn to be used to get what they want, and then you're going to be put with the rest of the minority. Boom. And it's a shame that it took them this long to finally start waking up.
But how do you deal with grace with the piece of shit white men, gay men who have given you shit for the last 25 years, who now want to come on and say, kumbaya, it's us, and how dare they not understand because it's us and it's life or death, and I've got relatives who voted for Trump and don't they know how they're killing us. Like, I'm having a really hard time dealing with white gays who come with me with that shit.
What you put out in the cosmos is what you will get back. And I don't know why people think that folk done forgot, but marginalized people within the LGBTQ plus community, they know who's real and they know who's not, especially the millennial and next generation. This is one thing I can say I love about social media. Social media has put everything and everybody on the spotlight.
Burkhart's is a legendary gay nightclub in Atlanta. It's been in business over 3 decades, and through the years, it's been a major part of Midtown's cultural and entertainment landscape. Famous for its drag shows, but those shows came to a halt when 30 performers staged a walkout because of the racist statements posted online by the bar's owner. One of those posts referred to then President Obama as the N-word. So now, after some pressure from the community, the performers aren't working there anymore.
And one thing that I can say about what the election of Donald Trump really did is that, no, I didn't vote for the motherfucker, but I understand the spiritual universal implications of it. Because what he did was he exposed, put it all out in the open, who these people are and who they've always been. We just been sweeping it up under the rug. We trying to pay our rent, we trying to pay our bills, we trying to just make a living. But this stuff has been here. All the election of Donald Trump did was just bring it to the forefront. That's why everybody that's not genuine, from the rich to the poor to the in-between, they're not getting away with jack. And ain't no war they can do to stop it, ain't no manipulation they can do to stop it, ain't no trickery and treachery they can do to stop it. Your time is up.
Okay, so
that's why the Me Too movement is coming out all of a sudden, even though they got their mistakes. That's why the Black Lives Matter movement came up. Even though they got mistakes too, we all got to correct all of that. But that's why all of these movements and stuff that's been hidden is coming up. That's why it's coming up. What this pandemic has done is told the truth about our government and what our government can do and what they've always could have done and never did. I don't want to hear this stuff about y'all can't take care of this and take care of that when you saw what you did in the pandemic.
We are in New Orleans. Is it New Orleans or New Orleans or New Orleans or Nolans, as some would call it? What was the culture? It felt New Yorkish, to tell you the truth. I felt like I was in Times Square. People were just everywhere. There was a lot of busking going on, and I think out here they call them the street performers. Very talented. I saw some snakes. I saw the Frozen folks who don't move. Very jazzy. The jazzy feel, blues feel.
I I didn't really have any visibility on New Orleans before coming out here besides like Mardi Gras and stuff like that. I was pleasantly surprised, you feel me? It was a lot of stuff that I didn't expect, like a bigger, I guess, like city infrastructure in downtown, you feel me, entertainment area than just, you know, Bourbon Street.
Y'all better come make the best of this little mural.
Love thy Negro. What? Are you loving thy Negroes? Love thy Negro. It's important.
Hold on. The detail is amazing, though. Isn't it?
The artwork is no joke, but
Hey you, yeah you, shorty over there twerking in the blue. I see what you're doing, trying to be a tease. How you back it up on me without saying please? Hey wait, where you going? You can't walk away with all that booty showing. Got me all hard up against the wall. Ask for my number and then you don't call. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. You really shouldn't tease in the first place. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. Should've never been twerking in my face. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. You really shouldn't tease in the first place. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. Should've never been twerking in my face. Hey you, yeah you, shorty over there dancing with your crew. I see you know the song. Yeah, I heard singing the parts to me with all the dirty words. Hey wait, don't go. How you gonna strut to the dough? Now that's cold. Got me all hard up against the wall. Ask for my number and then you don't call. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. You really shouldn't tease in the first place. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. Should've never been twerking in my face. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. You really shouldn't tease in the first place. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. Should've never been twerking in my face. Get on down. Get on down. Get on down. Yeah, yo. Drop to the floor, go ahead and make it shake. You the cry baby when you're throwing the cakes. Got a brother thirsty when you're vibrating. Pass me a Pepsi, soda hydrated. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. You really shouldn't tease in the first place. I'm thirsty, but don't judge me. Should've never been twerking in my face.
Never cool, my homie ready right here. My homie with the GPS wearing red and white right here.
We were looking for Uber, our Uber, and then we heard across the street someone with a PA system clearly and a microphone. I was like, over there, let's go. And you can hear this guy. And just the essence of hip hop. He was a freestyler off the dome, and I love it. I mean, we walked up and he was talking about our clothes, told him we were from Connecticut. He was phenomenal. The essence of hip hop, like I said, the moment, he really embraced it. It wasn't written freestyles, so he was really cool.
Pretty for real. See my brother with the fish in his shirt. Check out the deal right here. You got the love to rap. I see my brother got the camouflage with the fisherman hat right here. He got to know it's cool. My brother recorded me. I see the light on too. Make him gather. Black Lives Matter seated on the mask. This is off at the top. These words flowing fast.
I've been listening to hip hop for like 40 years. And this brother was one of the best freestyle rappers I have ever heard. Everybody that walked by, he incorporated them into his rap. And it wasn't just like him stringing together senseless words that rhyme. He was making perfect sense of everything that he was taking in while he was performing. It was one of the most creative, spontaneous uses of the English language I've ever seen.
Right here, looking it back, it is cool, no risk. I see my sister got the afro fist, like this, and pump it, and put it in the air. This is off at the top of what you're getting right here. This is scripted, get it with the phone, you know it's on. My sister recorded me on that red iPhone.
Dude, freestyling was pretty cool and stuff like that, you feel me? He was using the people that are walking by and different details about them, adding them into his flow. So it was like, that was pretty masterful, you feel me? And it's like, I feel like when you get to that level, you can always kind of attract attention when you've gotten that, you feel me, good with your craft. And he was, you feel me, definitely a craftsman.
Right there in her hand, she got the locks. I'm locking down the block. What I be spitting is kind of hot. Bringing this song, this is meant for me. My brother holding the house, I can see it in my Jeep. Right there, the house is a home, this house is where the heart is. This is our freestyle, we'll show you where the heart is. Rhyme, we got the feelings going on. This is our freestyle, this verse is being thrown.
There's such a culture here, you know, such a vibe here with obviously cuisine, obviously with arts that, you know, it's palpable. Small window of time, we were out on Bourbon Street last night. You know, we connected with a brother freestyling a quarter. Then we had some other brother who was walking and started freestyling with verse. And, you know, not to toot our own horn, but I think it's the energy we bring where people kind of, you know, we gravitate towards people and they gravitate towards us.
And I'm in New Orleans, 2020 pandemic. The police are on horses and they come down Bourbon Street in New Orleans to clear the street.
Everything you've heard from him is a total lie. He's been lying to you this whole time.
Social distancing, 6 feet. Thanks.
Yes, we may be different, and no, we're not the same. But when we work together, we vibe like yin and yang. Learn the mission, know thy lanes, empathize each other's pain. Black and yellow flow together, bumblebees sting together. We are Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. Can't duplicate us, can't clock our techniques. Watch us move our feet. We're bringing the heat. This song on repeat. Let's go. DJ drop the beat. Say it with us, I can't breathe. Anti-blackness ain't the way. Have to stop Asian hate. Let's get started. Not too late. Our Gangnam style is so lit. We know you hate to see it. Our hammer time never quits. Cause we are too legit. Take some time to learn their names. Life is not a video game. Jackson Briggs, meet Luke Kine. We are Kill Bill. Don't make us come for you. We are Vivica Fox. We are Lucy Liu. We will not be othered, cause we are Shaw brothers. We are Wayans brothers. We're singing and we're colored. High five, high five. Give me a high five, high five. Today is the day that we find a way to stop Asian hate. Say stop Asian hate. Today is the day that we find a way to stop Asian hate. Say stop Asian hate. Stop Asian hate. Yes. Yes, yes. Wax on, wax off. Yes. Wax on, wax off. Yes, yes. Yellow Ranger training, Black Rangers act. Now it's morphin' time. We're ready to fight back. Yellow Ranger training, Black Rangers act. Now it's morphin' time. We're ready to fight back. Yes. Yes, yes. Cause we are civil rights. Grace Lee Boggs. When we work together, we achieve it all. Black man frighten me, but me need BBC. Mandingo handle me.
What's America's obsession with big black men with bulges?
You know, it's like the cognitive dissonance of rejecting it, but secretly wanting it, and that push and pull. And that's why I think art kind of shows kind of a window into that subconscious thing at play, because it's like, you don't have to create it like that.
But then you think about like lens and such, because there's so much African art where a big, huge, strong, erect phallus connotates power and such, but in neutral, it's that. Like I can't explain, but the big black phallus, there's a lot of power that goes there. Yeah. The scoop on vaginas, really, that's how you're gonna say it? You really heard him say it like that?
The scoop on vaginas, yeah. What is the scoop on vaginas?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of different scoops on vaginas. This to me just looked like it was like, okay, unless vagina, honestly, that looks like a birth canal to me.
Oh, birth canal.
Which is, you know.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Completely beautiful.
That's right. The need to sexualize everything.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, because vagina, you say vagina and people think pussy, fucking. But birth canal.
I tap you, you tap back. What's your status? Where you at? 100 feet away, I see you on the app.
People are generally, I'm speaking as a social worker, people are generally very stressed in life, have a lot of anxiety, have a lot of stress for various reasons, and you put on top of that a scoop of viruses, COVID-19, you know, we're at an elevated stress level, I would say, in the collective consciousness of, you know, America at the very least, raised stress level, anxiety level that, you know, permeates the culture. So if there's ever a time people need to have a drink on Bourbon Street, I think it would be now.
When you wanna hook up, just tell me what's up. Baby, tell me what's up. When you wanna hook up, DTF, I'm down the floor. Sex work is work, pandemic, promote me. I'ma make you come from home remotely. Emojis.
People are still trying to, you know, take a load off when they can. Again, even with new constraints and new parameters that they had to abide by or not abide by or pretend like they're abiding by.
Walk in my shoes, see through my eyes. Shouldn't have to hide, hate crimes on the rise. Social distance, I empathize. Gotta choose between COVID and Black Lives. Search engine, I am mobile. World Wide Web, I am global. You're online, I see the green dot. Let's intertwine. Your little thought, cause your ass getting thick. Send me those pics, document. Make sure you press send. AOL, you got mail. I don't give a.
The only time I really put on my mask is if it's somewhere where I have to and I'm with somebody, like with this tour, and we're going someplace and have to wear a mask, because by myself, I just won't go to a place. I smoke, so I be coughing sometimes, you feel me? I got allergies, so if I have that, I'll put on a mask, just so I don't have to hear nobody. I don't really like to hear nobody and all their fears and doubts and all, like, cool, if that's you, keep it to you. You feel me? Me over here, I'm fine how I'm operating. I'm gonna keep doing, you feel me, what works for me. You do what works for you.
Follow my Twitter, Snap and TikTok. My DM open, hit my inbox. You swipe right, cause damn, I'm snatched. I press like, and now we're a match. I travel.
That's a real personal question on like their mentalities and stuff like that. Cause there's some people who never, you feel me, who don't even watch the news, who, you feel me, and it's like if you don't watch the news, if you're not around people who have already kind of ascribed to that belief, it's regular life. Even now where people are talking about it's coming back, I don't know, when it first hit, I was an essential worker, so I went to work. I took the city bus. I don't have a car. You feel me? So I've been nonstop living my life the way I always do. So it's like, it's kind of nice to me to see other people living their life, you feel me, the way they do.
Some normality.
Yeah, but then it's like, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, they're telling everybody to do this, so I'm going to go against it just because I'm a, you feel me, rebel, or I want to be seen as a rebel. It's like, it's not about that. It's about really doing stuff for you, you feel me? I feel like that character, what you do when nobody's around. I feel like a lot of me is who I am if nobody's around and stuff like that. So it's like, I just operate like that. A lot of stuff don't come up for me unless somebody else bring it up.
I tap you, you tap back. What's your status? Where you at? 100 feet away, I see you on the app. What's your location? Send the little map. When you wanna hook up, just tell me what's up. Baby, tell me what's up. When you wanna hook up, DTF.
I am the founder of Power Up CT, because now we have several branches from Manchester, South Windsor, East Hartford, Winstead, Coventry, Yukon, Windsor Locks, and I'm an activist and I'm an organizer and I'm an advocate. The goal is to eradicate all isms, but obviously right now we're focusing on racism. And so one of the reasons why I'm down here now is because I wanted to make sure that, because this is my home and I love Kimora deeply, I wanted to make sure that I could assist her with this awesome project. The other reason that we're here is a week ago today, my 10-year-old daughter's father died unexpectedly. And so we're here because she didn't have a close relationship with his side of the family. And when we reconnected at the funeral last week, you know, it was clear that we know he loved her. And so to help the healing process of my daughter, we're here so we can connect with her aunts and uncles and her cousins and her grandmother. And so she can begin that process of healing, being, you know, a 10-year-old black girl now without her father. One thing that we do in Manchester, we do these car parades, and we go through different neighborhoods and we pass out, you know, fruit and water and snacks. And so while we're here, we're going to be doing that for the homeless here in Center City, which is like downtown Philly.
That's so nice.
I am on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram Power Up CT, or on Facebook Power Up Manchester.
Just to let you know, we have some free books up here underneath the tent. We have free sodas underneath the tent. We have free candy underneath the tent.
My mother was born and raised in Philadelphia. 17 brothers and sisters. Her dad was, you know, Rolling Stone, and he had 8 kids with another woman. So they're all born and raised here. But my grandmother was in the womb of my great-grandmother when they fled here from South Carolina, Edgefield, South Carolina. And they were in a shootout with a white family. I believe it was one of my great-uncles had flirted. Something had to do with one of the white women, and as a result they got ran out of town. It ended up being a shootout, and what they believed was like KKK involved, and so they settled here in Philadelphia, and so this is where my mom was born and raised. What's interesting is my father is not even from the United States, he's from Panama. His mother's from Jamaica and his father's from Barbados, and they came here during the Civil Rights era. Me being here is as a result of both sides, my mother and father kind of fleeing from other places and looking for a home and looking for a better life. And so my parents ended up meeting and dating while they were attending Temple University right here in Philadelphia. When my mom's family came, my grandmother, she settled in the Germantown area. After she had struggled for years and years, they lived in the projects in North Philly, you know, 2 or 3 kids to a bunk bed. And once she was able to really get her life going together, being a single mother primarily, she settled in the Germantown area. Actually in Germantown right now and standing in front of Uncle Bobby's, which is a staple in this community, owned by Mark Lamont Hill, who is a reporter or correspondent for CNN, and he wanted to make sure that underserved communities had access to really good art and books, and and great quality coffee and snacks. So I'm not even really a coffee drinker, but I'm drinking it's black and it's good. They have everything from books for adults, and I just picked up 2 books here for my daughter.
Volume up the music loud, 'cause we're black and we're so proud. Place your fist up in the air, we gon' raise the roof in here. Break it down, drop to the ground, throw it back and spin it around. That's it, let's get ratchet, ratchet. 'Cause we're so pretty, 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 pretty. Always litty, 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 litty. It's our anniversary. This goes out to you and me. So we're here to celebrate on this very special day. It's our anniversary. This goes out to you and me. So we're here to celebrate on this very special day. When I'm on the go, I'm like Peaches Monroe. I always be on fleek, every day and every week. No matter what they stole, I'm the standard, I'm the goal, I'm the blueprint, the credential. I'm so influential, can't duplicate my swagger, 'cause my flex always in style. Everything we do, yeah, you know it's going viral. 'Cause we're so pretty, 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 pretty. Always litty, 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 litty. It's our anniversary. This goes out to you and me. So we're here to celebrate on this very
Mark Lamont Hill is obviously a major advocate for Black lives and helping the general public know that matter is really just the minimum. And so he was very vocal in public about defunding the police, very vocal in public about reparations for Black Americans.
And this is the owner of Uncle Bobby.
Correct. Rumor has it, and I'm hearing from really quality sources, and so it may not be rumor, I don't think it is that over here you see that it's been boarded up. And the reason is, after he went public with his feelings about defunding the police, they started vandalizing this location. And every time they would fix it, it would get vandalized again. And so
these are people who oppose
defunding the police. And so the rumor has it that it's either, you know, police dressing up obviously in all black or whatever doing it, or supporters of the police doing it on their behalf.
That's terrible. Vandalizing this business that's not hurting nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, let me just say that's all alleged. But as you can see with everything going on, as we move closer into the city where some of the riots happened, where a few weeks ago, I believe his name was Walter Wallace, was shot and killed by the police. And so there were some riots that happened. This area there was no riots in this area. So this is the only place. And this happened after Mark went public about defund the police. So people are not believing that this had anything to do with the riots, especially since the inside of it wasn't vandalized. It's just the outside. Nobody stole anything. Yeah.
And black people are going to vandalize their own business.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
You can pluck cotton with your feet. I don't care if your people eat. You'll be here today and gone tomorrow. I'll buy new slaves to ease my sorrows. Strange fruits I hang from these trees. Did you really think I would let you free? I dance on the lands I've promised you all. I lift your hopes up just to watch you fall.
We're Connecticut, so I can only imagine how Montgomery folks would describe the feeling of my city when they get there. But I can tell you that for us, the feeling of Montgomery is 30 years ago. And it's interesting because when my family has visited Montgomery, it feels like 30 years ago. And no matter what year it is, it feels like 30 years ago.
Like a city that was trying to do better and possibly run away from the historic past that was Montgomery, Alabama, related to slavery and things related to that.
It had an old feel, an old Southern feel.
Isn't that strange?
Yes, but not really considering where they came from. I mean, if you used to sell slaves in this town, how could the feel be completely changed in 2020 considering what's going on? I don't know.
All right, hey, we're Montgomery now. We're not that Montgomery, but we're moving forward, everybody. So that's kind of the vibe I got to say. Whether it's legit or not, I mean, who's to say? But you know, that was sort of the vibe I was getting from being there.
People will have a certain like way of thinking, and it'll kind of like pervade their whole like location, and then it's like they have younger people coming up that's not really down with that vibe, so they kind of leave. You feel me? And then it's like it ends up just being the older crowd that kind of maintains that same mind state that stays in one area and stuff like that.
It still had that feel, that
creepy feel.
Yeah.
Did you live there, being a person of color?
Where we were specifically? No, probably not. Just wasn't.
I would always
so
feel like that energy there of like death and destruction. You know what I mean?
Right.
I couldn't live there. And like you said, the people working at the museums, black men working at the museums, I don't know how I could get up every day to be reminded of that.
Yes, I know. And shout out to the workers at the memorial and at the Legacy Museum. They were very kind. They were very knowledgeable.
If you haven't really let the reality of all that stuff kind of set in, you feel me, it's like you got like the cold hard facts, you feel me, the solid truth right there in front of you. So it's like if you're not really prepared to deal with that, you need to get prepared.
Just expect to be hit, and whatever it is that you think is going to hit you might not be the place that you get hit. So whatever your pieces of black pain are that you know and you've identified, yeah, you're going to address that, but there are going to be other pieces of black pain that you didn't even know you felt until you get there.
Montgomery, Alabama was beautiful. Like the ambiance, the weather was beautiful. I didn't see the Black Lives Matter mural, but I know Ephraim did around the fountain. Well, at that place that the Black Lives Matter mural is where they would sell slaves. Like, to even think of something like that, they would sell slaves. You got to speak to a hologram of slaves. That was very, very moving.
Someone asked me, at what age do you introduce this to a child? From birth. From fucking birth. Don't lie to your child. This is our truth. This is what we came from. For my oldest, he was about 7 years old and we realized he didn't quite get it. So for him, we introduced the concept of a whipping boy. Because who the hell would my boy is, he's beautiful to look at, he's talented, he's happy. He would have been a waste in the field, he would have been a great whipping boy. He would have been friends to the master's son, and therefore when the master's son misbehaved, his little black friend who he loved so much would get beat, and therefore white boy would act right because he didn't want to see his little black friend get beaten. What does that do to someone's psyche? That beat y'all up. That beat y'all up. Think about how you depend on us now. Think about how you need the strong black woman. Think about how your body is soothed when you hear beautiful gospel music about overcoming shit. When you see us overcome shit, there's a sick place in your soul.
At the memorial, there was a dedication to people who were lynched after 1950. Emmett Till was on there, of course. We know that happened in 1955.
911 historically is like the first case of domestic terrorism in America, but going through that memorial yesterday, it became clear to me that the first instance of domestic terrorism in America was that period of lynching, and I'm going to say a period, right? 911 traumatized America, but it was a one-day event. And although a lot of people died, if we compare it to those years of lynchings that spanned from the 1800s to the 1900s, that was obviously America's first instance of domestic terrorism, and we need to start identifying it like that for real, and stop letting them trivialize what our ancestors had to endure for us to be standing here today.
Lynching is how they kept us in our place. Lynching is how they let us know that if you look a white person in the eye, you could die. If you cross the street when a white person is crossing the street, you could die.
The knowledge you gain is just the different stories that you didn't hear about. put it that way. And they all are very similar, kind of like George Floyd, his counterfeit money was lynched.
And one of the things that was so powerful about the Lynching Museum was they gave the reasons why people were lynched. And this is the beautiful part that I think is so necessary.
What are some reasons?
Let's see, so the reasons was there was a mother and her teenage son, so you know that hit me, right? There's a mother and her teenage son who happened to be in the vicinity of a space where a white man was murdered. So therefore, they were murdered. They had to be lynched. That had to mean they had to go away.
There was somebody I read was lynched for having a white woman's picture in his bag, was lynched for that.
There was a man who had a picture of a white woman in his hat. He had to be murdered. He had to go away. There were two men who happened to, where the heck was theirs? But two men who just happened to be in a crowd of a whole bunch of excited white people, and they were murdered.
You can't, I mean, it's unfathomable things. It was spooky, it was traumatizing, it was painful, but it's a reality that we all need to know.
When we think about lynching, we think about people hanging from trees, and even that is just because before they were put up in those trees, all of the township understood that this fun thing was getting ready to happen. So let's think of the sickness of this, okay? Let's think about the real sickness of it, because we can sit back and we can listen to Strange Fruit and we get to the sad romantic piece. But no, before that happened, white folks knew a fucking party was getting ready to happen, right? There was going to be a party. Black folks knew it was time to hold your people close because they've got one and it gets sweet to them. So if they've got one body to hang, after they're done with that one, it's going to be the sweetness and they're going to need some more. So they're going to have to go find some more bodies. So at that point, once it was time to hang a fucking nigga, it was time to pull together and hold ourselves because shit was about to get nasty and shit was about to get bad. That's what it was. It kept us in our place. They hung the bodies, they tortured them, they cut pieces off. A few months ago, there was a TV show that came out. I don't know what it's called. There's some dumb shit, right? But there's a television show or a movie, and the premise is, what if enslavement was switched? And what if black folks were in charge? And so they tried to put this sickness on black melanated people. And please hear me fully. And white folks, if you are at all, if you have anything to say about what I'm about to say and think that it might not be true, I encourage you and invite you to get down here and go through both museums, and then we'll have this conversation. But I am not willing to have this conversation with a white person who has not done this tour. When we discuss what it would look like if the shoe was on the other foot, when we look at what
white people like to call it reverse racism.
White people could suck a dick on that. and hear raw, like hear just pure raw emotion here. But honestly, when we say that if it was switched, it would be different, watch that shit and tell me if you really believe that melanated people would do that. And that is the place that this country really, really, really needs to reconcile. Not that some bad shit was happening, but there's some real sick, fundamental, soul sick shit that created a place where human beings thought that the way to deal with a 14-year-old child looking at a white woman was to take him, cut pieces of his body off, beat him until he was unrecognizable. And I'm not talking about Emmett Till right now. I just realized what this sounded like. I'm not talking about Emmett Till. I'm talking about all of us, the thousands of us. And then string him up and then make sure that all of the school children walk by to see that body, to understand what can happen to them if they look at a white person. That's what y'all need to reconcile with. That's what you need to deal with.
A noose found hanging at a middle school. This happened today near the entrance to Gotha Middle School, that is near Windermere.
Yesterday, a student inside a residence hall found a black doll hanging from a noose in a shower. As Nick Monticelli reports, the person who did it has already been caught. Now police and campus leaders have to figure out what happens next.
Doll, black doll in itself, you're literally just symbolizing the exact same thing that we've been trying for years to avoid.
Latest racial incident involving a Wake County school has the principal pursuing criminal charges.
CBS North Carolina obtains this photo showing the doll hanging from its neck.
I didn't even know how to feel. I was livid. Like, it just, someone really would do that. Like, you have that much hatred in your heart to do that, a physical representation of racism.
A 12-year girl receives a black doll with beads forming a noose around its neck at a Mississippi Gulf Coast Mardi Gras parade in Biloxi. It happened on Sunday, where the girl and her family were attending the parade. The mother of the girl says her daughter was called over to a man riding on one of the floats to give her the doll. According to the mom, the man told her, quote, "That's you." We're told police are now investigating the incident as a hate crime.
We begin tonight with breaking news. A
disturbing discovery in Queen Village. A doll found hanging from a tree at a playground.
It is unsettling that this not only happened at a playground where children play, but also at the original burial ground for an historic African-American church.
For a person of color in this country, I would say there's really no place that I would go that I could say, oh, in this place, I know I'm safe.
A noose was found hanging from a light in the courtyard at Crofton Middle School. Thanks to surveillance video around the building, police are now looking for these two suspects. Take a close look at the photos. Police are asking for your help to identify them.
18-year-olds now face hate crime charges for hanging a noose right outside of Crofton Middle School.
Someone asked me, at what age do you introduce this to a child? From birth. From fucking birth. Don't lie to your child. This is our truth. This is what we came from.
Kids did not know the historical context behind it, but what they did know is something like that was wrong and it did not belong in school.
For my 7-year-old son, I told him that there was a noose found here and that a noose is a symbol of hatred towards people of color, and that is a symbol that will not be tolerated here, and that's why we need to come out here and spread kindness.
Students will be greeted with messages including "Love wins" and "Crofton is kind" when they report to class Monday.
We want to make sure that those messages of positivity and kindness and acceptance are far, far louder than the message that was sent by the hateful act that was committed here last Thursday.
This really helps not only me but everybody else, and it makes us feel better inside.
Love notes the Crofton community spent writing in chalk will eventually wash away.
Nobody can divide us, and we're here to prove that.
But the school's principal says the message will live on.
And the school's principal sent home a letter to parents after the incident offering resources for students.
I'm really glad I did it, even though it broke me in a certain way. Like, it really shattered a part of my soul, reliving the experience of my ancestors like that, because it's not my experience, you know what I'm saying, but it's my experience in that trauma has been passed on to us from generation to generation. A 59-year-old black man in 2020 can walk through an exhibit like that and literally be traumatized in the same manner that I imagine my ancestors were, you know, although I didn't feel the lash of the whip and all of that, but my soul felt it. It hurt me, but it reinvigorated me. It allowed me to embrace it in a way where I can now let it go in a manner that I couldn't let it go until I really embraced it like that and really allowed myself to feel that agonizing pain and red hot fiery anger. Like, coming out of there and not punching the first white person in the face was a testament to the beginning of my healing process, I swear to God, because I wanted to strike somebody, you know, and not anybody. Specifically, I wanted to strike somebody who identified as white.
We're discussing when should someone get this information. This is information that I think we all need to know from birth. If I get this information about what was done to us as an adult after I've fully formed who I am, there's an anger, there's a palpable anger that needs to be there. If you are offended hearing Olu say, I wanted to punch the first white person I saw, go have a cup of tea and dwell and think about that and think about why that might be, because if you can't understand that, that's your inhumanity standing between you and the truth. And when it comes to us understanding this information, if I'm 18 and getting this information for the first time, I'm going to spend the next decade of my life filled with rage and anger and needing to hurt and just destroy, as opposed to if I got this information when I was young. And dude, it's fucked up, but it is. It's horrible, but it is. I don't understand this desire. I really don't. I've heard all the words, but I can't grok. I don't understand this desire to hide the truth of who we are from who we are and then expect us to figure out how to build out of it when we've gotten a foundation of lies. So on this one that you're saying, an 8-year-old child needs to understand that white people are evil and horrible and awful and bad and just want to destroy them, so they can then grow and see this from every different angle and every different lens, which is what I'm asking you to do. And then when I'm 18, I've got a much better understanding of what this is, and I can think about these horrible situations and positions. And when I think about the truly cruel and sadistic role that white women played during enslavement, when I step back and look at what property ownership looked like for them, and just the horrible, awful world that they had to try to navigate, I don't excuse it, but I can understand it in a different way. When I look at how enslavement definitely benefited the North, I don't understand it, I don't excuse it, but I can understand it in a different way. So that when it comes time to step into and try to build ourselves out of it, I have a lens and a perspective that is not built on 30 years of lies and 2 years of anger and let me figure out how to put you over. Tell your children when they're born, and white people, really start having the conversations and what is your responsibility? Yesterday, a big part, and this has been my life, what is my responsibility? How do I take care of my people? What is my responsibility to all of my people here, and absolutely every human being on this one? When you hear that question, if the first thing that you hear is, well, my people never owned slaves, jump out of your inhumanity, jump out of your fear, jump out of the block that you've created in order to not be a part of all of this. Every last human being has responsibility here. All of us do.
We're expecting to learn more this morning about a truly disturbing display at a Kansas City hotel.
You might have seen this. This is a screenshot of a doll hanging by a noose in the employee area of the Adamz Hotel. It's been circulating all over social media.
Management tells us the noose showed up in the employee lounge of the hotel. Now, a local attorney that's representing one of the workers in this case says it was a, quote, slave doll.
Pittsburgh police are still searching for whoever is responsible for hanging a black baby doll by a noose from a light pole here in Homewood. Now, police say because of the height of the light pole, they believe it had to be someone who had access to a bucket truck. Investigators tell us they have been interviewing workers with local utility companies to find out if any of those workers were out here when this incident took place.
The kids that had to walk past and see this. This was what we call racial intimidation. If you would have had some minorities, some African Americans that was working out here, I can guarantee you, you wouldn't have seen a baby on a light post strung with a noose.
New at 6, a Mid-South family is demanding answers tonight after finding a black doll with a noose around its neck. An employee who works at the Landers Center, a coliseum in South Haven, was handed the doll and told, "This reminds me of you."
Whew, I can't say on camera what I really feel, so I'm just gonna keep it quiet. I just want to ask her, what possessed you? Why does this remind you of him?
Police say the woman left screaming, "There are demons up in here and evil people I can't work with." Erica Jefferson says her son is a victim of racism.
She gave you a black doll with a rope around his neck.
A reality check, a sign that we still have a long way to go.
Pay attention. You know, color is out here. Racist is still here.
We need to really start looking at ourselves in the mirror and asking ourselves, what have we done today to perpetuate this madness, and what did we do today that could possibly alleviate it or eventually erase it from our culture? And those are two questions that every American needs to start asking themselves every day. Wake up and ask yourselves that question, and before you go to bed, repeat it. And if you can't, say, I haven't done this to perpetuate it, and I've done this to alleviate it.
The most disgusting thing about how this has hit us as a country is that white folks seem to think that they need to just step back and let black people deal with black pain. It is the sickness of white America. It is the sickness of white America. Does she mean all white people? Yes, it is the sickness of white America. When you get here and you allow that to permeate you and you are somehow white, that sickness is what allows it to happen. And white America needs to come here and see this shit and reconcile and see what their responsibility is. I came here, my mom was white. Y'all all know I'm half white, right? So as we discuss this and have this conversation, please understand, as I talk about my responsibilities to my people, I'm talking about my responsibilities to all my people. White people, y'all are my people, and you're holding us back. You are the problem right now. Sitting back and loving our songs, loving our resiliency, loving our grit. The fuck? We should not have this resiliency. We should not have this grit. We should be able to walk in beautiful and peace together and grow. When we were at the museum, the part that struck me and I could not move was the dirt.
In those jars are people who were lynched. It's the soil from the lynchings of people in Alabama. Those are the names. Spooky, very scary. But it's real, and it happened. Acknowledge it.
There are jars of dirt from all of the different lynching sites. And they talk about how DNA is there. The body was not just murdered there, but the body was kind of left to hang there. And people would come and take their little chunks out, take their souvenirs, you know, cut off some balls, because it's really nice to have a big naked penis. Yes, a big fucking naked penis. And that is where the conversation needs to be right now. We can't say it was a horrible and dreadful thing and lynchings happened and we need to atone. No, y'all cut niggas' dicks off so that you could put them in jars of formaldehyde so that you could have sexual prowess. What the kind of crazy sickness is that? So, what is lynching? Lynching is the most disgusting and inhumane way that a people can tell another group of people that they don't deserve to live and have no space to live. It's disgusting and awful.
So tell me, connect that with the lynchings that they find today.
Whew, and that was the beautiful part. Like that was what held me.
Well, the lynchings today, actually, the lynchings today, they are hanging people from trees. Hello. I believe in Louisiana and Mississippi, there's been cases of people being hung from trees and they're saying they committed suicide. The blatant lynchings that we see is from the police murdering unarmed black people on camera. It's prevalent. It's been going on. You got to actually speak to like an incarcerated hologram telling their story of how they were incarcerated.
And that is why I think black people get there, and if you get there, be prepared to be hurt and be prepared to care for yourself.
Well, tell me about your poetry. Can I see it?
Why, surely. That's why I'm out here. And you're a very intelligent young man. I like that.
Well, I like to think so and hope so.
Well, you don't have to think. You listen to me. I'm going to tell you. Well,
you mind if I read one with you?
Why, surely. Mine. I keep telling you, that's why I am out here.
1,000 times I will walk around the world, but if I do not stop to give another man or another human being a helping hand in my life, in times, have I really accomplished anything? Because I know I cannot lay any treasure upon this earth because I am just using it just for a little while. Thoughts and memories of a real human being. Written by George Drain, friend of God for Almighty God.
That is him and them.
Thank you, George.
That is him and them.
You need this back?
No.
This is for me to keep.
Why, surely.
Be prepared to care for yourself however you like. We're here at Water and I needed this shit, right? So figure out how to care for yourself afterwards. But more important than us, white folks, get your asses there and feel a thing. White folks, get your asses there and read all the words. The beautiful thing about the museum was there are a lot of words. Far too many words, far too many words. There are pictures and you can put whatever the fuck it is that you want in those pictures, but then there are words and you got to sit in the truth of the words. And that if this place was not black built and black sensibilities and definitely in all of those docents, they made sure that we understood the sickness of this. When black folks die, we're broke, okay? It's rare that we have insurance policies that come through before the funeral. When black folks die, it is completely normal to crowdsource a funeral. It is completely normal to go to the church and ask the church to help out. The pastor goes and figures out where to get some money. In Hartford, people are selling M&Ms for funerals all the time. There's a cute thing like I need my drugs, I'm gonna pretend that someone died. And then there's the real truth of my brother died and I can't afford a funeral, right? And this is a real thing. But then I was observing so please understand it was there with us. I was observing and feeling that strange, energetic white consumption of black pain, and also understanding that like we're in the South, we're looking for soul food, but there's white folks looking for soul food too because there's that need for this black experience, right, to somehow step into this. And I realized that we missed the boat a long time ago. If we'd commercialized the repast at the church, folks would have gotten that soul food meal, their belly would have been filled, but then they also would have had the space to consume our pain. Now, if this sounds like a trauma response, if this answer sounds like some crazy ass shit, yep, but please take it to exactly what I just said. Think about this. As we reconcile and as we look at how we're dealing with this, are we creating places for people to consume black pain, or are we creating places to heal? Are we being given spaces to heal and then choosing to manipulate that to consume black pain?
Okay. What should I do?
Well, this way is taking the video.
That's right, George. Right.
How long have you been writing?
Oh, years back. Wrote one you haven't gotten. The real truth about real love. Would you like to verbally hear?
Sure.
Okay, you're a young man. You got anything. You blessed.
Tell me.
Let me do it where you can hear it.
Sure.
The real truth about real love. If it ain't right, can they hear me on it?
Yes, they can.
Let's start over then.
Okay.
You can show your friend. If it ain't right, it ain't meant to be. If it don't last, it will come to pass. When two people are real with each other and they both love from the bottom of their heart, they will be real and will last forever. And we both know that's a very nice start. Learning to love each other has been with us always in the past, and it's still with us even now. And we both know that that's going to last. People who don't care for each other should care from the bottom of their heart. It will be real and it will last forever. And forever is why we start. If it ain't right, it ain't meant to be. If it don't last, it will come to pass. How'd you like that?
Very nice.
Well, I'm grateful to hear that. That's just being a writer. You sure it was all right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you for being here with me.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be around a young man who's intelligent enough to understand life. I wish I had one of those.
I have an extra one if you would like.
Extra what?
A stick like this.
Oh, no. No, I ain't gonna take your shit. Here, you can
have one.
No, but I ain't gonna be. I ain't able to do too much with it, young man. You understand? You was crying?
Yes.
Why?
Your story touched me.
Huh?
Your story meant a lot to me.
Oh, man. Like people like you, I want to be around the rest of my life. And there are many people like you, aren't there?
I hope so.
I hope so, too. I'm down here with all these old crazy, prejudiced people. And I don't like that, but still, you meet a few that ain't like them.
Aren't I flawless how I'm living? Judge, yes. Aren't I slaying? Aren't I giving? Judge, yes. Aren't I tens across the board? Judge, yes. What is my final score? Xenophobia and religious monopoly. Homophobia, genderism, and misogyny. Racism, prejudice, and bigotry. Implicit biases have always ruled me. I laugh at your petty debates. Why don't you people just accept your fate? I've got way too much on my plate. Keep your Black Lives Matter and stop Asian hate. I wouldn't dare to learn their names. I don't care to learn their names. I don't give a f about their names. For Halloween, I dress up as their names. No justice, no peace, your fist pump. You can't breathe while my heart thumps. I serve myself and only me. Who needs inclusion and diversity? Judge, yes. Aren't I flawless how I'm living? Judge, yes. Aren't I slaying? Aren't I giving? Judge, yes. Aren't I tens across the board? Judge, yes. What is my final score? Judge, yes. Aren't I flawless how I'm living? Judge, yes. Aren't I slaying? Aren't I giving? Judge, yes. Aren't I tens across the board? Judge, yes. What is my final score? My evil stings like thorns and vines. To unroot me requires many shovels. Hospital sheets are the uniform of my supremacy. I am the blue-eyed devil.
There are many people like you, aren't there?
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
At the Oyutunji village, African village.
And
We are in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. You have to really take it in. It's peaceful, it's beautiful, it's calming, it's intriguing, it's extraordinary.
Where the majority of us come from as melanated people who were brought here through enslavement. We come from West Africa, we come from the Yoruba people, and the religion that we practice is Ifa. And that's our original religion, which has all of the deities. There's our ancestors.
It's okay to be
as a woman, what were you saying?
As a woman, this is something that is Yemonja. She's the deity of the women in the women's society. Also, you'll see that our Yoruba flags fly proudly, and then you look at the podiums and you'll see that the women are holding the building up, which is significant with our culture because a lot of people don't remember how strong we are. The man, this is the deity of men. Every man.
Technology.
Yes.
Clear of the way.
Tell him, Baba.
He will remove everything that obstructs your path.
I'm going to change this water. In this area is where we have our playground and our campgrounds. Our families come. We light fires. We tell stories.
Oh, okay.
He's not just a deity of manhood, but also of technology and computers and all that works and goes, railroad tracks and such things. So I have a few friends who came to me like, well, I need to get a job. And I was like, you better go talk to somebody about Ogun. And we did that, like they should. They all call me back like, girl, I got the job, I got a better job than the better one. So make sure that, we pay. The most important, I'm sorry, I'm just going to let that slide, but I said it's important to make sacrifice to Baba Ogun. But also, it is important to pay homage to your ancestors before you can find out who your Orisha is, before you can do any spiritual work or learn anything about yourself. The first thing that you want to do is you want to honor your ancestors because those are the people whose shoulders and backs we stand on. They're the reason that we're here.
So we got the history, and they started back in New York, back in the late 60s, knew that they needed to come find space, find land, to build a place for us to be us.
In 1970, Oba Usajman Adefume came from Harlem with a caravan of people. Oba Adefume started the Black Camp, or the African campaign in Harlem. When he would dance, he danced with Catherine Denham. He was an artist, a musician, and a dancer. He brought the dashiki to Harlem. So the majority of all this artwork is the king. And he has since deceased, and now he predeceased, and this is his son. And we call him Kariasi. Like I said, you'll be seeing him at some part of this tour.
They're from New York. They had a great idea, but they didn't have the skills to pull it off. But over time, they learned plumbing, electricity, the whole nine. And so they were able to recycle a lot of buildings, local buildings around here. We still do it today. We just went and got some decks the other day, recycled different things, and was able to create the community and start to build houses and stuff. But the first house, my dad said his wife's first house was a 4x4. You ever live in a 4x4? It's like living in a shopping cart. It's 4x4 feet, 4x4 feet. It's like one of those panels right there, it's 4x4. And that's what they had. And he said they had actually leaned the boards up together. It wasn't nails or nothing. because they didn't even have machetes. They had to beat the bush back with sticks and everything. City guys, I mean, with a dream of a place where black people can go and find out about Africa. You know? So all of those efforts, they knew you were coming one day, right? This village is a part of the plantation. You know, the tree line back over yonder been the plantation back there. They called it Tamatli Plantation. And back there, at the time of the Civil War, when Sherman came through and burnt everything in this area, 300 Africans were, quote unquote, liberated from that plantation back yonder. The big house is still there, the lakes, the ponds where they grew the rice, everything's still there. So we know our ancestors are still in those lagoons and swamp rice fields back there because they didn't give us burials. If the plantation was there from 1600 to 1860, that's almost 200-year-old plantation with all the Africans who worked it, where they buried it.
And Harriet Tubman walked.
And Harriet Tubman worked this area as well. The connection is this is where we lost our culture, and this is where black people come back to get it. A lot of people don't know that about the village. You know, they come here to find out about Africa and start their journey, or Googled it, or doing their ancestral venerations and all of this Orisha and initiations and all of this stuff, acculturation of themselves. But they ain't had known that right in this area is where our ancestors, the thickest history for black people. That's where we lost our culture, and that's where we get it back.
So one day I woke up from a dream in which I felt like I was being choked, you know, and I like jumped up out of my sleep because I couldn't breathe. And when I woke up, I could hear my grandfather's voice telling me that I had turned my back on the tradition of my ancestors. And I didn't understand what he meant at the time until I was sitting down eating breakfast with my daughter and her mother, and I was reading a newspaper and I saw an article about the first Ifa conference being held in New York City, which is a conference when all the Babalaos, or the high priests of the Yoruba tradition, come together and talk to each other. And when I saw the article, I felt like this might be what my grandfather was talking about. So my daughter's mother and I and my daughter, we went to this Ifa conference, and when I listened to the king speak, not the current king, but his father, when I listened to the king speak, and the words he said like echoed my grandfather's, and the dream I woke up so vividly that I just turned around and looked at my daughter's mother. I was like, this is what my grandfather was talking about. And so we found a Yoruba temple in Harlem, New York. The current, I mentioned it was on 138th Street. And we started practicing the tradition. And the priestess of the tradition, who was my original godmother, was just had gotten married to the past king's right-hand man. His name was Chief Elishine, who ended up becoming my godfather and is the one who gave me my name. And so we started practicing the tradition, and eventually we came down here. I literally lived in the village for a week. During that week, we partied, because they party down here. Mm-hmm. So when I first entered the tradition, it was like so serious to me, and then to come down here and party with my godfather and the king, the king then and the current king now, it really opened my eyes to the joys of this tradition.
SU is, as we call him, the trickster of sorts. He is the gatekeeper. He is the one who takes the message to where it needs to be, wherever it could be. It could be a deity. It could be himself. The way his color is spread in black. He takes gin and cigarettes, but he also, you'll see toy cars, and so there's a little bit of an illusion thing with him. Also, his number is 1 and 3 and 11 and in those sequences. And the way to greet him is a little bit strange, because an ordinary deity, you would touch the floor as a dowale and you would kiss the back of your hands. But you cannot do that here. Ooh. You cannot do that here, because you're supposed to spin around or shake your booty or your oko, and if you're a man. And so I think you could figure that out, right?
And the beautiful thing, like what I just experienced in there, was what I'm always looking for, which is, hey beautiful, which is not us living in reaction to white people with that as our idea of what blackness is, but an actual Afrocentric village that was beautiful. I mean, our tour guide was, you know, you can't really ask, but she's probably about my age, and she's a black lady from the Bronx, and she's cool, and she's down, and this is real. And just dwelling through and walking through it, and just that wonderful place of, this is us, this is ours, and that's what it is. Not this is us, this is ours, and look at how much better it is than theirs. Look at how much different it is than theirs. No, there's no comparison. It's just, this is ours, this is what we have, this is what we do, and this is how we do it.
It's, I'm just calmly taking it all in, because as I was telling Olusanya Bey and some words with him, I've never been to an African village before. So this is my first time to see the shrines, the altars, was extremely powerful, and I made the correlation with Olu. We do that same thing today in our culture, and don't even realize it when someone passes away from gun violence or like a car accident. You put the candles out, you put their favorite alcohol out. You're building a shrine and an altar, working through your ancestors and don't even realize it.
Right,
so,
on the block.
Oh yeah, on the block. Right, it's amazing. So to learn how deep that is and where it comes from is beautiful.
Later on, he found out how much I had flourished here. And he called me up like, Auntie, you could come back home now. And I was like, I'm good. Yeah. So I like to hear the chickens in the morning when I wake up. Now see here, we have visitors.
So we have festivals that go on, you know, last year, pre-2020 crazy year. We have festivals, weddings, all sorts of things that people use and utilize Oyotunji for. And just like you're doing right now, you know, Viceland, Travel Channel, you know, they all come here and assist in marketing Oyotunji. But yeah, definitely marketing is everything, because that's where the rubber meets the road. Because we survive by people like you coming here. If we can't get people to come to Oyotunji and participate in our programs, then we don't survive. And so marketing is everything in terms of spreading the word through obvious channels and allowing people to come and experience. Because it is an experience. We need money. Money. Where you at? Money. Okay. Money at our website. We need money. As you know, everything costs money. People don't know to build is a serious undertaking. That's why a lot of people don't do it. They rather just
donate,
pay the money over 30 years and do it that way, as opposed to hit it one time, because it's a huge undertaking, and we do it for our people. You know, we don't do this for ourselves. We do it for you. That's why you're able to come in and experience. And in order to continue doing that, obviously, it takes a boatload of cash. But everything in Oyotunji is primarily funded by Oyotunji. No, there's not like a factory somewhere where everybody works to pay. You know, everything happens organically based on African culture. So we know it can work. It just has to be more people like yourselves involved. You know what I'm saying? Incentivized, ambitious, and ready to cut out and do something different and strange and weird. Well, it's not weird anymore. It was Beyonce, your girl. You know? Ask your question. I'm sorry.
But no, intergenerationally, because our young people need our elders need our young people. And again, we're talking about people coming to me. There's a disconnect. They're not talking.
Yeah.
What's going on from your perspective?
Nothing you do about that is America. America is the land of just do anything. Act anyway, be anyway. No tradition, no passing them from the elders to the young. I mean, just do drugs and vote for Trump. That's the only thing left to do.
I have to take it away.
You have to, okay, 2 seconds. But it's the Yoruba proverb they said yesterday. They said that the wisdom of others prevents an elder from becoming a fool. Okay, you get that one? It's a little twisty, but
say it again,
the
Baba.
wisdom of others prevents an elder from being seen or becoming a fool. Right? That means that the elders listen to the young. Right? They listen to the wisdom of the young. But they're not fools because they know the way. You know, that's basically what that's saying. The elders know the way, but the children are the steam and the energy. So you have to meet. It's always been an imbalance of the one or the two. There's even stories in Yoruba culture where they say that the children put all the elders out the village. Then they find out what happens when you do that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, brother. There's a part of me that's a little sad because, you know, I think the village should probably get a lot more support from our people here than it does. I kind of have an issue with how much African Americans like to claim, you know, our ancestors are from Africa, you know, but we claim everything about it but the actual traditions themselves, you know, and that's why it was so important to me that this be part of our Black Art Heals tour, because I really think that more of our people need to be introduced to this culture so that they can see the joys of it, the benefits of it, the beauty of it, you know, the richness of it, you know, and just the Oba sharing, you know, the history of the village, because a lot of that history I never heard before until now, you know. Again, like this is where it started, you know, in terms of as the king explained, this is where they took it, and this is where we're bringing it back.
Your primitive instincts are always gonna kick in automatically. I gotta eat, I gotta survive, I gotta live, I gotta move, and so that punishment that he gave me was the best blessing of my life. So you know how that is how spirit works.
When she was talking about coming here and learning how to live here, right? So how to cook on the open fire and how to make her bacon, her bacon and her coffee and such, right there, at how she was able to do all this. She said it was second nature because what's yours comes back to you. And that's where we are, and that's what I'm dwelling in right now. We were cut off from it. We lost it, a place where I'm always looking at those places where, you know, they stole us from our parents and put us on plantations, and they stole us and they stole us. And I'm always looking at those places of them stealing us and what we lost. But then there's that place where I need to remember that there's that intrinsic, so they can steal it as much as they want, but the soul is going to come through. And right now we're at the place of, you know, what is our responsibility, what's my responsibility? It's that unlocking, finding, and stepping into that soul and reminding us that that's what's got to come through.
Ever since ABC's 1, 2, 3's, twinkle, twinkle, little stars, still heckling, pestering, questioning who you are. Don't faint yet, be patient. You gotta wait in line, they say it takes time. Nobody really understands what it's like to love another man. Damn. All the bullshit and the drama, pussy popping in the handstands. Man. One day we gon' all face judgment. You can never throw shade at me. Every day is a ride or die. Life or death and suicides. Embrace sexualities. Don't coddle the fragilities. I believe that I can fly, so you can't cancel me. I say that as a black and a gay man, unapologetically. I don't need a church to tell me what to preach at. I don't need a church to tell me what to preach at. God help please, I wanna live free. I wanna be me and live happy. No one should have to hide their face. Someone take the pain away. Run from their face, from their home states, from their birthplace. There is no safe space. I know you hear us crying. I know you see us dying. But are you even trying? Angel wings are flying. I believe that I can fly, so you can't cancel me. I say that as a black and a gay man, unapologetically. I don't need a church to tell me what to preach, yeah. I don't need a church to tell me what to preach, yeah. I don't need a church to tell me what to preach, yeah. I don't need a church to tell me what to preach, yeah. Louder in the back if you didn't heard. Louder in the back if you didn't heard. I said louder in the back if you didn't heard. Louder in the back if you didn't heard. Now a nigga's gotta reclaim the N-word. You know a nigga's gotta reclaim the N-word. Now a nigga's gotta reclaim the N-word. A nigga's gotta reclaim the N-word. Nigga, I'm a boss, a king that's gon' breathe. Yeah.